Let's talk about the failure of the justice system in Alabama specifically. For this example, we're going to talk about one Judge Sibley Reynolds, who 8 years ago passed down sentences on two different cases on the same day. And we're going to talk about those two cases. The first case he sentenced was this guy, 28-year-old Wesley Phelps. He has a pretty lengthy arrest record. Wesley allegedly had stolen a car. He had his girlfriend with him. He was high on drugs and he was driving around in that stolen car when police tried to stop him. He then fled from them, high-speed pursuit. He ended up wrecking the car and killing his girlfriend. And he went to trial over that and multiple other charges. Well, Wesley was found guilty, and when he stood in front of Judge Reynolds to be sentenced, Judge Reynolds sentenced him to 3 years in prison. He said that Wesley had a good support system at home, that he thought that was just enough time for him to pay his dues, and then he could get home to that good support system. FYI, he's been in and out of incarceration multiple times since this incident. The next sentencing that same day, passed down by Judge Reynolds, was for 16-year-old Lakeith Smith, who at the time of his crimes had been 15. He and a friend broke into unoccupied houses to steal video games. They heard police outside. Police allege that one of them fired shots at them from inside the house, and then they encountered Lakeith's friend, who was 16, running out of the house with a revolver. An officer shot and killed him. Lakeith was arrested, and the thing is, in Alabama, if you are in the commission of a felony and someone dies during that, the murder can be put on you, even if you weren't the person who killed them. The officer who shot and killed that young man, no charges against him, but they put his death on 15-year-old Lakeith. And when he stood in front of Judge Reynolds, despite never holding or firing a gun, Judge Reynolds sentenced him to 65 years in prison. In the 8 years since, his family and friends have fought very hard to try and overturn that sentencing. They have proven that he did not receive an adequate defense, and also that his sentencing was unconstitutional. And so the other week, he went back in front of an Alabama judge to get resentenced or released based on the arguments made. Now, his defense attorneys argued that he is guilty of the burglary, but the 8 years he's already served more than covers that, and that he should be released with time served. Prosecutor in the case said, I'd still like to see him do more time, and recommended 15 years. But the judge looked at the prosecutor, looked at the state, and said, no, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with 15 years. And then he looked at Lakeith and said, Lakeith, I sentence you to 30 years in prison. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Lakeith's new sentencing was done by the same Judge Sibley Reynolds? You know, there were friends and family and activists from all around the country, people like Jolly Good Ginger, who a lot of you should know, and Mr. Checkpoint. They were there in the court for that, to show the judge Lakeith's support system, to show him all the people who were supporting him. And yet, funny enough, that didn't seem to factor in this time. And let's face it, this is not justice. If you go to the link in my bio right now, you'll see a tab titled Free Lakeith. If you tap on that, it'll open this page. There's a GoFundMe to help support him and his family financially through this. But even if you don't have that, and almost more important, there's this. If you click on this tab right here, it automatically generates an email that you can just click send, and it'll go to all the politicians that have the power to help him out. Also there's several links to stories and whatnot that you can find out more about what happened to Lakeith, and there's even an option to write a message of encouragement to Lakeith yourself. Situations like his often get swept under the rug and forgotten about, and that's unacceptable here. A few people complaining is like a whisper. Thousands of us complaining turns into a roar. And I think Lakeith's life is something worth roaring about.